that music.
He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Will and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat
Minute! Greetings, citizens of Gotham, and welcome back to Bat Minute Returns, the show that knows that adulation is a cross to bear, but takes on that challenge to investigate Tim Burton's, Batman Returns, 1 minute at a time. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
I am the other hosts, Niall McGowan. I was going to try to come out with something there, but I was like, nah, I'll keep it simple.
Speaking of simple, I'm Jonathan Howell from Minute Impossible.
And I'm Chris Ramirez from Minute Impossible.
Hey, thank you for rounding out the week with us. It's been a fun week, and we're going to end on a very intriguing scene here. This is one of my favorite parts of the film.
This is when they literally are like, all right, Tim, make the office look normal, and not normal to you, normal. Like they probably had to bring in somebody who would have to do the set. So yeah.
I was just gonna say there's a little bit on the DVD. There's documentaries and stuff, and they do specifically talk about having to decorate this office. But it's like the things they say about it are like I don't think I'd come across in the movie. But no, we'll get to that eventually, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get there because the minute here we are looking at minute 51, and it starts with a lowering stench, and it ends with someone being jabbed in the mouth by an inanimate object. So yes, Max is here again. He's luring the penguin down the stairs with the fish. And I'm assuming the penguin is thinking the promise of more fish to come.
That's what I would assume if someone handed me a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
He's going to just walk down. There's going to be an entire room full of fish. Oh my God, Max, how did you know?
All right, so let's talk about this. He's been sitting up there quietly scribbling his murder notes.
Yes.
For who knows how long. How did Shrek install an entire local House of Representatives re-election campaign office with people?
And not have him hear it,
Yeah, and they're all properly, they all obviously had to stand up getting ready for him to come down. And like, make sure you applaud.
And they've been there a while. Like, these aren't just cubicles that have just been set up. Like, they look lived in.
Yeah, the campaign is underway.
Yeah, it's happening.
And maybe that's... Maybe the penguin, maybe he was just so wrapped up in his work, but maybe that was why the Red Triangle Gang were so quiet. They're like, wait a minute, shh, what the hell's going on downstairs? Like,
that's why they're so quiet. They're like, there are people downstairs. Normals. There's a bunch of normals.
The thing is,
them normals.
The major mistake the penguins made as well here is that not insisting on a place with a door. Because literally, again, Max just walks in. Like, he didn't want him there. He just walked in. It's like, well, you need a doorway, man. What the hell are you doing? This is it's an open staircase.
I'm surprised an intern didn't walk up going, is there a bathroom up here or something?
He's got the perfect excuse to ask for it as well, because he could say, like, oh, I am ashamed of my physical appearance. Like, he wants to hide away from people. I need a door. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Again, another thing against the spiral staircase. There is no door system other than that weird the fake spiral the spiral staircase escape from Indiana Jones, where it's all one level and then you hit a button and it turns into a spiral staircase. There's no I've seen spiral staircase tops. Have you ever seen a door on a spiral staircase up at the top?
Yeah,
this might have been after Neil's friends were all murdered at that bar. But I've seen a place where you could not go up to the second floor via the spiral staircase because they had put like a round metal like a manhole cover at the top. Unfortunately, it makes it even worse because you have to climb the whole way up there to find out you are not allowed to keep going.
I've definitely done that. I've definitely gone up one and there's a locked door. And it was, again, in a castle. I sound like I just frequent castles, don't I?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Well, I am Tim Burton's Gothic protege, so obviously
this is a castle. You do have tapestries.
Don't you know everyone in Britain lives in a castle? This is.
I was gonna say, isn't it all castles over there?
It is castles and fish and chips with a curry on it.
I insist that everybody tries Chinese curry sauce on their fish and chips. Do it. Do it.
This is
off
something
the-
we said off mic, but
Yeah. People might be like, what the hell are they talking about? Curry and freaking fish? What the hell is it? It was a whole discussion, people.
It's an important discussion to bring up for Americans, especially. It's an English thing. You put curry sauce on chips and whatnot. Or the other acceptable thing is mushy peas.
Oh, see, I can get on board with the mushy peas. I like that. But
It's like peas, like kind of peas pounded into a paste.
yeah. Oh, mushy peas are gorgeous. I highly recommend those. But the curry sauce on the fish, not for me. Not for me, man.
I look forward to this conversation on your Facebook group.
Just Neil Brown. Please don't do loads of comments saying how you hate mushy peas.
I can imagine Neil's bound to be pro mushy pea. Come on.
Oh,
He doesn't
let's
like
decide
chips.
now. Let's decide now. Is he pro curry or anti curry?
Oh, I don't know.
On fish and chips, he's against it, I think.
No.
You think he's more? I almost said he's almost more of a meat and potatoes kind of guy, but that doesn't actually make. I guess that works. Yeah, meat and potatoes. It's a meat.
It's a meat,
Kind of.
yeah.
It's a fish. Is a meat.
It's meat. Yeah, as a vegetarian, it annoys me when people think it's not meat. It's like, it's the flesh of an animal. It's meat. It's the animal's meat.
Well, I mean, look at the penguin right now. That, and to most people, is like, it's not an animal, and you're like, it's not meat. He is eating the inside of a fish.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
There you go. That is meat right there he's tucking into.
I do have to say, before we even get to that, though, because we get a nice shot of the footwear of these two gentlemen coming down the stairs here. And the penguin actually has some pretty sturdy boots. And I admire the fact that Max Shrek is wearing spats. He's wearing proper old school spats. Because
You're a spats man.
I'm a spats man. I wore spats just last week to a wedding. And, people don't know. Because actually, I use this as an excuse to do do a bit of research on spats. Because here they are. Because, of course, it's the shortening of spatterdashes. And they're, also used to be protection against mud and stuff like that. And,
You think a guy that wears two coats isn't going to wear two pairs of shoes?
But it's they kind of fell out of the big thing in the 20s and stuff. In fact, there's even a character in Some Like It Hot, which is set around the St. Valentine's Day massacre. So there's a character in it called Spats because he wears spats, which is weird though because everyone was wearing spats then. But whatever. But because white protective clothing that you put over usually black shiny shoes, people would know them actually because the Joker classically would wear spats. You usually see he actually did wear them in the last movie, but they were kind of like a lavender color, and everything else he was wearing sort of took your attention away from the fact that he was
That's
also
why they're in this, right? They're doing this just as an homage because he doesn't wear spats
it's a
later.
connection thing.
But I did whatever became of the spats because I like them personally, but why did they fall out of vogue?
What do they protect? They're just protecting your laces?
I think it's just protecting if you have any kind of shiny shoes that they just that entire top layer is sort of okay from any splashes and stuff.
But the 3/4 of your shoe's not covered. The front part, the wingtip, whatever you want to call that, that's uncovered. That's what I would cover.
And then you're just going to dirty the spat. Then you need to buy new spats anyway.
Oh, I can. as a spats owner, let me tell you, that is a trouble. You do have to frequently then end up having to just go I'm gonna have to buy new ones because these are pretty dirty now and stuff. But looking into why they fell out of vogue, just the history of the spats in fashion, because in 1923, King George V opened the Chelsea Flower Show, wearing a frock coat, grey top hat, and spats. And then it probably became a big thing. And then in 1926, the king shocked the public by wearing a black morning coat instead of a frock coat. And this arguably helped speed the frock coat's demise. Damn it, King George, what are you doing to us? The spats were another clothing accessory left off by the king in 26. It is said that the moment this was observed and commented on by the spectators, it produced an immediate reaction as the ground beneath the bushes was littered with discarded spats. So apparently the fickle people of 1920s England were like, he's not wearing spats, get him off, rip him off, people.
They still wear them in the military. Some militaries have it in their dress whites.
Yeah.
Like I'm noticing a lot of I'm gonna say seamen, and then everyone's gonna laugh, but seamen wearing there you go, wearing it, and they're different countries, but there is a precedent for those, covering your boots.
I think the ones I got, because I got them off eBay, and the cheapest ones you get, because I'm not a rich man, but were
What?
like
I'm rich from this podcast.
What you told me we weren't getting any money, John. Have you been suckering me out of all that podcast dough? But in eBay, basically, at the time anyway, when I bought them, the ones that they were flogging to you were like Scottish military spats. And they're like, well, I'm going to have to just, reappropriate them for my own purposes. So
They look cool. They look cool on, like, when you're sitting, especially. Like, they make you look like a badass, because when you're sitting and they're like I have them. You guys probably have them, those 3/4 boots. That everybody wears now. Those are basically spats in a boot form, because they're cool looking.
Yeah.
When I was at SMU in the marching band there, we had to wear them as part of our costume. So I wore them for a couple of years as part of the marching band costume. So, yeah.
Oh, Neil, I see a bunch of Scottish bagpipers wearing them.
Yeah.
So that's close to you guys, right?
Yeah, totally.
Well,
maybe
you're both Celts. You're fine.
Maybe we can bring the spats back. Now we can undo this hellish torment that King George V has instigated upon the public, where he makes people.
I love fancy suits. So let's go to a bar, guys. Let's get our spats on and our tuxedos, like John has, and we'll all go to a bar. It'll be really nice.
Just not the Swan.
Don't think we're gangsters or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Chicago, that might not play well. Actually, people just think I'm going to play. It's all good.
Although, I might try to instigate this thing in my own life of like, oh yeah, after 6 p.m. you put on your spats, you get dressed up. But then a lot of days after 6 p.m., because I just work from home and stuff, I'm just living by myself, so it'll just be me sitting around dressed real fancy for no reason. Like, yeah, this is probably.
Hey, you've got to take care of yourself. Look after number one. Feel good for you.
Yeah. If it makes you feel better, wear your spats in your house by yourself. Hey, like, dance like no one's watching, wear your spats like no one's there.
Exactly, that famous phrase.
But again, like, in talking about like how the Penguin didn't notice like the all the noise of these people creating this entire campaign den underneath, like literally like one floor down, through an entire open friggin' doorway in the top of these stairs. Like, even on the way down here, it's like that hat. Like, Shrek's got the hat covering his face. I'm pretty sure you could probably see past that too if he wanted to. I think it's just that the Penguin just doesn't really care what Shrek's got. He's just sort of like, he's giving me this fish. All right, I'll go. And he's entirely focused on the fish. He doesn't care what's behind the hat. It's just like, I'm a one-track minded kind of guy. It's like, I'm writing my death list for the kids. And then I can't hear what's going on downstairs. Don't care.
Also, that's the most dangerous way you could ever go down a spiral staircase with a hat in front of your eyes.
Excellent point. Oh my God, the danger he was in there.
That's like Shrek's like, well, one of two things can happen. Either he'll get bored with my mayoral campaign idea, or he'll just fall down the stairs and die. And either way, Max Shrek wins. So.
Yeah.
He went out the way he came in, eating the ass end out of a fish, I guess.
Danny is Danny, like I know him. He's really going to town on that fish, though. He's got a mouthful of that thing. It's
well, I was looking at that. He does have a mouthful. It's not the same fish.
It looks different color, doesn't it?
The gray of the fish that's cut open is like nasty fish. He looks like he's got salmon in his mouth.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's because more to do with like maybe time and doing multiple takes, having this fish out for hours. Like that, you couldn't just start biting. Then again, he does bite bits off it. I don't know.
No, he really did eat it, is what I remember them saying, that he really did eat that fish.
He does eat it in some parts, definitely. I don't think it's always him eating that fish, though.
It's the thing I remember, was it the other week when we had Johnny Powers on? I remember she in particular was like saying that, some bits of the movie like really kind of traumatized her a bit. And one of the things she brought up was like, oh yeah, Danny DeVito eating that fish. And it never occurred to me, like, why would that disturb you all that much? But when you're watching it a minute at a time, you have to repeatedly watch this guy slurping down that fish. It is pretty disgusting, actually. Because you do see, like, at one point he does have that little bit, and he does do a proper, like scooping it, like sucking it back in. It's like, oh, yeah.
I don't eat a ton of fish, but I've never eaten, other than fish and chips, I've never, anything breaded, I've never eaten a fish with my hands. And I've caught fish. I've gone fishing, and we did it. I'm from the South. We fish and we eat bluegill, and like you scale them in front of, like you have this table and you like scale them and you fry them up and you eat them. I have never touched a fish in this way.
No.
Maybe you should. You're missing out.
I know, rip it in half by its whatever and then just eat the inside out. It seems like it's disgusting. It is. I'm with Johnny on that one.
But there's like I actually do like fish, but I've developed like an allergy to them. Like I used to, again, the same thing happened with avocados. I used to really like avocados, and then after a while I started noticing every time I eat this, my lips puff up, and it's very difficult to swallow for a while. And
do you eat an avocado like he eats a fish? Like
yeah, totally. And then you have to sort of hawk back up the big pit in the middle, and that's how.
And then you wake up in the hospital.
But yeah, because I used to always have, there's a lovely sandwich shop down the road that does was it tuna, jalapeno, and mozzarella, or is it cheddar? But it's again a wrap of all that, and it used to be my go-to wrap, basically, absolutely fantastic. And then after a while, I started noticing like, yep, this is now my lips are puffing up, and it's very difficult to swallow while I'm eating this. And so, and then yeah, even now like breaded fish and stuff, it's just like, yeah, don't feel good after eating this. So, and then even in times too with sushi, used to eat sushi all the time. Can't eat sushi now. Literally, that's the worst. If I have sushi, like it's properly like, there's times I've had it where I've been like, oh, I think I might need to go to a hospital here. Like it's getting pretty.
Mercury? It's not mercury poisoning, because that's not what it is. It's just something in the fish oil, fish oil.
I'm not too sure what it is. There was one time like a friend of mine who actually is like a professional chef. He's like a head chef in a restaurant, and he's like, he's inviting people around for dinner. And he's like, I'm making like proper fresh tuna and stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I can eat that. And he's just like, it might be that maybe you're allergic to something in like the kind of crappy canned fish that you might be eating out of, like in those places would use. But this is proper top tier fresh stuff. And I did. I went and I took the gamble, and actually nothing that night. It was totally really nice food. No adverse side effects. So I don't know. Maybe if there's something in the canning process, or if it's just that's lower tier fish that because he's buying a proper fresh from a wholesaler and stuff. Or...
But sushi,
well, you're only used to eating fish that has fillings in it, so that's all, you're not getting your metal content that you need. Your body is screaming for it.
I need metal.
But yeah, so tragically, like I've watched the Penguin here with a little bit of envy. I'd like to be able to rip into a fish like that. But.
That's the only time that sentence has ever been said. You know what, Danny DeVito's Penguin character, I think that he has the better end of the deal. Look at him eating that fish.
He's inspirational. Look at him.
Oh,
we can all aspire to be like that.
Yeah, but I like salmon. I can't touch it now. But look at him. He's, if that's just a glob of salmon DeVito's got in his mouth. He's going to town on it. Like, I'm a little jealous of there.
I do like as well. I was thinking when he comes down with the hat over his face. Do you think? I mean, obviously he's hiding from the Penguin what's going on, but I think it's also kind of for the other people's benefit. They don't want to have to look at his face for too long. Hide him from the crowd, please.
How much do you think he had to pay them extra to not go when he removes the hat?
He's probably warned.
He's like, I'm going to come down the steps with a little potato monster, and you guys are going to need to all chill out.
Clap him, be nice, smile.
Do not make a face.
It takes him off guard, doesn't it? Like the Penguin's kind of, he's intrigued, but he looks kind of shocked. He can't quite take it all in. Like, what's happening?
I think it might be just how hideously decorated the entire place is as well.
Well, he's also very angry that this has all been going on below him without his knowledge.
Plus, he did also assume that there was the promise of fish to come, and it's just a bunch of people. Like, what?
You know what, though? I will defend it now. I've just had a thought. Max doing all this, and somehow the Penguin didn't hear it. It makes me think of somehow when I was a child, my parents could get all the Christmas presents down under the tree. I'd be none the wiser. I wouldn't hear anything. How? How did they do it?
I don't think like when you're a sleeping child up in a bedroom.
Allegedly, your parents put gifts under the tree.
Allegedly, yes.
But it's just
Can't prove anything.
I think like a sleeping child up in a bedroom while the parents are doing something downstairs quietly is a bit different from a guy sitting one floor up with a wide open doorway while about at least 50 people are like putting up posters, blowing up balloons, getting an entire campaign center ready, and then like sending somebody up to go get the guy. That seems like this would make at least 50 times the amount of noise.
But then again,
did they get there? Did they get there by a different way?
Oh.
Has he put him up in this room in the cover of night? There was an office down there, but he came in at night with Shrek's guys. And the Triangle Gang all came in, and they all went upstairs, and they have not been back downstairs. So now they're seeing it in daylight, and they're like, oh no. Like, it wasn't created magically. It was there before. Like, Shrek has had this planned. He was just waiting to bring him down.
Yeah, that could be. That might genuinely be what it is.
Yeah, well, it could be.
Otherwise, it makes no sense. It's like you put him in the vacant house, and now you've turned the middle part of the vacant house into an office. Come on. Also, I've never been in an office that had an attic like this. No office I've ever been in has had an attic, like a spooky attic.
Yeah, what building is this? It doesn't actually explain this anywhere. Like, what is it for?
Well,
normally,
I think I'll bring up like the thing they say specifically in the little documentary about like the design of this whole center is that they were very focused on the downstairs looking very ordinary, and then as you go up the spiral staircase, it turns into this weird, just decrepit, horrible thing. And they're like, oh yeah, that's really. It's like the public persona of the Penguin and the private persona of the Penguin. But
yeah, because this is his pre-layer layer.
Yeah. But the thing is...
Which is nothing. It's literally just a room with a bed and a desk.
Well, what's interesting is that there's sunlight coming through the windows and stuff. I've not seen any sunlight in Gotham at all.
I think it's like a 2 or 3 scenes maybe at the most in this movie. It's almost as if like we have to do some scenes during the day. Just like it's going to drive the actors crazy if all they see for months is just nighttime suits.
Yeah, they start getting that SADS.
Yeah.
Is it the seasonal affective disorder?
Well, I'm sure everybody on a Tim Burton movie is just ready for that.
Yeah.
Because you're like, all right,
Oh, they're bringing
going
in
on
those-
Beetlejuice. You're like, well, everything's going to be fake. The only thing outside, I mean, think about the last scene of Beetlejuice is outside, where she comes in from the outside from their house.
Yeah,
And that's like the only, I mean, early on it is. Early on it's like nice and normal. But, you know, most of the movie, for the actors at least, was on a set in grays and blacks and goo. And
I suppose with how fake Tim Burton liked to create everything, like everything's a set in a lot of these movies, even stuff that doesn't need to be a set.
Right.
He does it that way, that old-fashioned way. We shouldn't have been surprised that he went all CG, really.
No, okay, actually, yeah, that's a good point.
I don't approve of it,
especially when you
but-
watch like Sleepy Hollow. I was watching it with director's commentary, and they were like, "Yeah, that's a forced perspective moon and hill in the background." I go, "Are you kidding me? You built that? You could have just put that in with a computer. It wouldn't have taken that long." And instead, they show them on the set later on. I watched a little featurette, and he's like walking toward the moon. A guy is. You can see him walking up this hill in like forced perspective, so it looks tiny. But it's really just right there. And I'm like, oh, my God. Yeah.
Maybe that film pushed him over the edge. He's like, I'm never doing it again. Just get computers.
But
I know.
This thing, though, because in that little the documentary on the DVD, like they mentioned about designing that campaign headquarters downstairs. And they said, like, yeah, we wanted this to be like very bland and very political. And they describe it as monochromatic. Whereas, like, look at this thing, though. It's the most hideous garish colors everywhere. Like, I wouldn't call this monochromatic at all.
No,
it's all the chromatics.
Yeah. I think
It's multi-chromatic.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went to a color wheel and it's like, what colors are not supposed to go together? Because, like,
I mean, unless they're not counting the balloons. I mean, it is beige. Everything's beige.
yeah, but you don't.
Well, the posters aren't. The posters are a nice sort of blue and yellow and red. And...
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of those posters, I do love that the posters look like the comic book Penguin, or like one interpretation that we've seen of the comic book Penguin. It's the very old school look to him, because they're trying to make Oswald look, you know, like a mayoral candidate. They're trying to like, let's take his features, but make them palatable.
Well, because his nose in his poster, it points outward, like he's like, you know, what is it, Aquiline? You know, like a like a Roman nose.
Yeah,
but
strong.
In reality, it's goes down in a horrible beak.
I do love what they've done here is like you can sort of piece together how this poster came about because Max Schreck's previous meetings with the Penguin was like, oh, he showed me that he has all these like umbrellas. That he has one that like shoots fire and there's one with a knife in it and stuff. So it's like it's all about umbrellas. This guy. What if we had him holding an umbrella, but he's protecting the city so the city's all sunny while Cobblepot is holding the umbrella above it and stuff. I just love the fact that was probably Shrek himself going like, this is all I know about this guy. He's got.
What should we do about his hump? Well, you should take that away.
Yeah, literally,
you should have less hump.
He should be literally thrusting his back backwards as if he does not have any kind
he
of.
is. He's still squatty and rotund, but not. But he looks more like Michael Chiklis and less like this.
That's like the
Potato Man.
I want to see Michael Chiklis's interpretation of the Penguin.
Oh yeah.
And this is even the fact as well, like, oh yeah, the his hair is quite.
He's on Gotham.
Is he?
Michael Chiklis is on Gotham. He's the commissioner.
Is it? Oh,
He is indeed.
Not watched Gotham and watched the first couple of episodes. Didn't like it, and I've not gone back since. Any proper.
I have not gone back. After the second season, I went, are we just never getting a Batman and we're not getting a Joker? Screw this show. I'm not watching this anymore. I can't.
But it'll
I can't
keep
handle it.
teasing them.
Oh
Yeah.
Well, no,
I was like, no.
In the show now though, you do have a Joker. So, and apparently at the end of the last, much like Smallville, you'll get Batman at like the very end. I think.
Don't get me started on Smallville. I wasted 10 years watching Smallville.
Holy crap.
I started creating rules so I could fast forward. I'd be like, okay, every time Lana's on, I can fast forward. And then it turned into every time Lex Luthor's on, I can fast forward. And so by the end, I was fast forwarding probably and every time Pete is on, I can fast forward. Because it's just their storylines were always the secondary storylines, and they weren't interesting.
I think with Pete,
Every
I'm
time
like,
Clark's on.
Yeah, I just want, and now like, but I have to slow back down when their Green Arrow comes on because I loved him. So I was like, had all these rules.
I was surprised. I was like, I thought Lex Luthor was like the best part of the show, but like
He was at first, and then when he left the show, but then came back, he was not.
no.
If that makes sense.
Imagine though, like trying to fast
He
forward
lost it.
Pete's bits are just like, oh, Pete's on. I better go. Like, oh no, he's gone. Like it's literally.
Pete's on for like 2 seconds. So, but usually he was like, my rules got to a point where my wife was like, so how much of the episode do you watch? I go 5 minutes tops.
I looked into the script. Well, it was one of the draft scripts to see something because I'm sad. I'm a techie person. So I was very intrigued, like, what computers are these? Now, I didn't get any models or anything, but they are specifically pointed out in the draft as being, and this makes me laugh that people used to say this, Macintoshes. See, now, you don't call them a Macintosh anymore, of course, but, that's what they're using here. A Macintosh computer. All of those computers the same, which is quite interesting. Would you use that in this type of a setup back then? I was too young to know this. I was born in 86.
Yes, in those early 90s, I was working for school stuff, and we all had Macs. There were so many Macs everywhere, and they were the most expensive versions of the computers, so I don't know why we were doing that.
Yeah, when I was young, I didn't really see anyone with a Mac. So maybe it was specifically like a business thing.
It was, because that's what they were trying to push. They were like, we're the new business model. We're the... we're the ones who we're different than your gross PC.
I'm just imagining now though, like the Penguin still trying to write his list upstairs, and then people with that early 90s dial-up downstairs, and him every time just hearing like, just like 50 computers doing it at the same time.
Jesus. Actually, this movie probably came out when I got the internet, because 92. Yeah, I've got the internet around then. So yeah, they very well could be sort of connecting to the World Wide Web, as everyone always called it.
I can't help but notice as well, though, that I think we talked about in Selena Kyle's apartment that they actually had a Gotham Yellow Pages made up. And I was like, oh, that's a nice little detail. But the fact that it's very kind of like shoved into this scene as well. I have a feeling that one prop guy is like, it's only using that one scene? Oh, the hell with this. And just like before they called action, he sidled in and just put that Yellow Pages on the table.
Yeah. He probably spent all weekend making that, and it's got actual numbers in it and everything. It's great. Look, it's like real.
Because he thought, it's like, oh, maybe if I do this for Tim Burton, Stanley Kubrick will hear about it, and I'll get to work on whatever movie he's working on next. But I thought that was the thing that you guys are saying, like about them hiding the penguin's face from the crowd and stuff. I actually think it's I took it entirely the other way, because I find this scene and all of this political stuff. This is Dan Waters' town. This isn't Tim Burton stuff. We think we've mentioned it on the show, the fact that like Dan Waters wanted to do this stuff with Shrek and stuff, and he had to kind of mold it to make it interesting for Tim Burton. But this really strikes me as like a kind of very broad social satire moment where like the gullible public, for some reason, despite the fact that the penguin is very obviously a hideous, very blatant villain, that they are just like, they inexplicably love him. And even like, we'll talk to them about them now in a couple of seconds when they pop up in the minute. But we have after the applause, you get in the corner there Jen and Josh, and their poses are like, she's just like holding their hands like, I can't believe he's actually here. She's genuinely beaming to see the penguin, and he's got like his hand in his heart and stuff. I think it's like these people genuinely do love Oswald Cobblepot.
So you think they're not being paid by Shrek to not notice his? Do you think these are sycophants? Do you think these are just bootlickers, and they've all been brainwashed, or do you think they all see what Shrek has created is Cobblepot is this new hope, this make Gotham great again kind of thing?
These are the wretched pin-headed puppets of Gotham. These guys, these are the complete idiots who have bought into whatever Max Shrek is. Basically, Shrek has pitched them. This guy is the future, and they are just that way of like, yeah, this is it. And it reminds me of like in like Heathers and stuff, when you go around and you'll see like the different social groups in the canteen and stuff at the beginning, and you'll get the proper, the way they broadly play like the yuppies and the preps and the goths and all that kind of stuff in that movie. This is a very broad kind of caricature of those kind of people who just like get so invested in the hope for the future, and it's always very like, oh, they're all sort of well-to-do, like very bland white people, basically, who have bought into this guy apparently is going to make everything better for them.
Well, what's funny is we were talking about it the last minute, I think, and even this minute, that it's pretty good satire at the time, but now it's reality, and that's the scary part about this movie.
Oh, and in case you're wondering, we have Jane Hooks is wearing a coat over her shoulders.
She is. Yeah. What the hell is going on?
That could be. She saw Shrek doing it. It's like, oh, this is the cool thing you do. So, yep, I've got my coat over my shoulders now.
Or maybe she has more fish in her jacket. Those are all fish jackets. Anytime you don't have your arms in the sleeves, you are a fishmonger.
That's the universal symbol of the fishmonger.
Mm.
Lots of vests too. I love that you can tell the main extras and key small roles get vests and look very ethereally like 20s to 40s look. Yeah. And then everybody else is dressed like you would dress in a normal office. Except there are a couple guys in the back with bow ties on. But other than that, everyone else is dressed. There's a lady, you can tell like main featured extras and then like literally the day players that they hired for $12 a day to come in. Because they're literally like, wear something nice. Gray or brown, and it's exactly what it is. It's all gray and brown normal suits. I love the normals of Gotham. That's what I want to see. Just the people that don't dress suit. Because look at Max Shrek in the front at second 34 of this shot. What a bizarre, the fact that Max Shrek occupies the same universe as the rest of those people.
It doesn't look right at all, and we've brought this up a few times. I love that about both the Burton movies, especially. Like, when are they set?
Yeah.
Who knows?
You can't put Macintoshes, so,
Yeah. Everything looks kind of 30s, 40s, but then there's computers.
But I do wonder the Macintosh things. I can't remember what the brand of computer was we talked about in the Prince hiatus episodes. Because remember, we had the whole thing about, found out that Prince has a computer that's still maintained in Paisley Park from the early 90s.
I think it's an old Mac, isn't it? If I remember.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they went for this. It's like, that guy Prince was raving about Macintoshes. So apparently this is the way of the future. If you're going to have a computer in there, it better be a Mac. And little do they know 30 years later, like, no, Prince himself is dead. But like that Macintosh lives on. People are still making sure it keeps running because otherwise it's got all this stuff on it. It'll be lost if you don't keep it up to date.
There's no way to back it up.
Yeah. In a way, Prince is immortal and lives on.
Yeah.
through
Not
the
by his
Macintosh.
music, but by his creepy Macintosh computer.
Yep. When you turn it on, his face comes up all pixelated and 90s, like, hello.
Oh,
That'll be great if it's
You're
just, like,
quite
turns
good
out
at turning me on.
the Prince actually is the lawnmower man. He's the lawnmower prince, and he currently is inhabiting cyberspace, waiting for like a musical comeback to just launch on people.
good. I hope he and David Bowie are there together.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I noticed that Shrek's jacket disappears towards the end of this minute
Oh no!
altogether.
What?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It's
When
gone,
they go to
isn't
put the cigarette holder in Penguin's mouth, he's no longer wearing the
Yep.
jacket.
He must. Oh, I think that woman. You see the woman behind him at second 56. I think there's a woman putting her hands out. She's about to take it off him.
Yeah, but then the next,
yes.
like, second later.
They obviously shot
gone.
it with her.
There was obviously some other shot that's missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a scene that they cut out.
But yeah,
Yeah.
she's look at her hands in 56.
Yeah.
Her hands are going toward his shoulders.
Good.
Well, because it's such an odd choice that not choice. This is an oversight, and this was shot 2 different times because the 2 women standing behind them, Max Schreck's wearing the coat, and the next shot, the women are gone. Max Schreck has
And the
taken
coat's
over
gone.
that spot, and the coat is gone. So
Yeah.
they either shot that on another day. I don't know, or
That's
December,
It looks
didn't
like they
care.
deleted something in between that one shot and the next one of Josh putting the cigarette holder in his mouth.
Yeah, it could have been
Yeah.
maybe the penguin actually.
Plus, yeah,
talked
because
to the
Josh
girls
goes
or something.
Josh goes off to his right on one shot and then goes off to the left. Is in the left in the next shot. So there's something missing.
We'll note as well though, like some of the. I think it's just down to a case of bad editing. Is an unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
Let's say bad editing. Didn't notice it.
No, it's just not bad.
going
It's
through
just
the-
continuity. They just missed. They forgot those people were standing there.
Easily
But,
done. And most people would never pick up on it unless they were doing what we're doing.
No,
The thing is, though, like
Exactly.
talk about not picking up on things. Like again, growing up watching this movie, there's so many great lines that Max Schreck actually gets that I never picked up on as
Oh,
a
yeah.
kid because I
I
just
know
didn't
what you're gonna
understand what he was saying. Yeah, but he has this line here of just like, yes, adulation is across the bear. God knows I know. It's like, what the? What kind of an asshole says something like that?
that kind of asshole that wears 2 coats when you were and has coiffed hair in different scenes, different coiffs.
Yeah, he's got a different hair here again, I think. I mean, maybe he's just took his hair and sort of pushed it back a little bit more, but it's different to when he was up the stairs.
It's
not to
definitely
the
and
side.
it's different than it was 2 minutes ago.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's definitely different. I understand we were saying hat head, but it looks like it's styled this way now. Now we'll have to watch. You guys have to watch the rest of the movie and tell me if it goes back to crazy.
Oh, it definitely
pretty
does
sure.
at least a few times, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Maybe at the end.
And
where
like
it's
Chris
just-
said, maybe this is his going out hair. Maybe he doesn't have crazy hair except when he is in his office.
Yeah.
Feels
Although
sick.
the thing is, he did make a very public speech at the beginning where he had proper mad scientist hair. So
I don't know then.
yeah, well,
I'm looking for the cigar in his pocket. I can't in my scene. I can't tell what is in his pocket. So I don't know if he has one.
No.
And it could also be that some of the scenes were shot later or earlier, and they decided to go with a different hairstyle too.
like he didn't want any of that. Again, the disappearing coat is just like he was softly saying to that woman, "This stinking fish coat, like, get this the hell off of me." And then he didn't have the cigar there with him. He's like, "I don't want my cigar seeping in, getting fish stench on it the whole time." So no way. Oh yeah, and then we have the Shrek does this little, just basically making the pitch here. Like someone has to stand in the way of this, standing in the way of progress, Mayor, and Oswald Cobblepot is going to be that man, apparently.
Insane plan. It's such a cartoon plot.
But then we do get like a little bit here of the penguin rightfully saying to the Shrek, this like, Max, the elections usually happen in November. Is this not late December? And I think it might be giving us a little bit of a mirror into the rise of Mayor Roscoe Jenkins from previous minutes, because maybe he is only a recent thing. This is like all happened in the space of like a month for Shrek, where it's like he had Mayor Borg wrapped around his finger for God knows how long. And then literally within the space of a month, like, this new mayor, I don't like him. All right, by the end of December, I've already got a guy in here to get the other guy out of office.
That's 100% what I think. It doesn't mention it in the script or anything, but that's what I go with, because the urgency with which he wants rid of him, it seems like this is like a fresh wound. This mayor's like recently pissed him off. Well, I have a question. How does the Penguin know when the damn elections happen? He's meant to live in the sewers. Why does he care?
Well, he's a smart guy. That Penguin, he knows what's going on in the world.
Most human beings in the real world don't know when the elections are going on.
Oh, he's a big proponent of voting. He's big on you gotta vote. Gotta get out the vote.
He goes on those Macintoshes a night on to 1992 Twitter, and he's putting on about, you guys, it's the registration date to vote. You gotta get in there.
It's on a bunch of bulletin boards, Lycos, bulletin boards.
Hashtag quack the vote.
Quack the vote. But yeah, and then of course we get our introduction. The Shrek just kind of brushes off Oswald's concerns there. We're like, don't worry about it. But and then we've got your image consultants, Jen and Josh.
Oh, they've got a lot of work ahead of them.
The weird thing is as well, like, again, talking about this being a very Dan Waters scene. These are very Dan Waters characters, and if you read that original draft, these people are in it way, way more. Yeah. Like, they are like almost like comedy sidekicks to the Penguin at some points, but they're actually called in that Punch and Judy, which is
come on,
very on the nose. But then we get I don't know whether it was Shrek or whether it was Tim who was just like, these characters, I'm not interested in them. I'll give you one scene. Wow me with one scene of Jen and Josh. Not Punch and Judy. I'm not calling them that. And I know we do have next week, next minute in particular, we do have a major bit of Josh and Steve Whitting. But I'll go through a little tidbit of him here. To what because he's actually a fairly prolific actor. He's been in loads of stuff.
He's a consummate that guy.
Yeah. But recently he's featured in The Post there with the recent Spielberg hit. Quote unquote, it was a hit. I guess it did okay for itself. Yeah. Game Night is in Wolf of Wall Street and Shutter Island. So both Scorsese and Leo DiCaprio, apparently good friends with Steve Whitting, it would seem.
Mm-hmm. He's in Catch Me If You Can too.
Yeah, also yeah, with Leo, and he's in both 30 Rock and Third Rock from the Sun, so he's in all of the rocks.
Of course.
And classic as well. Actually, Boardwalk Empire. I'll just put that in because me and John are big fans of Boardwalk Empire.
Oh, he's the funeral director. That's what I'm saying. Okay, another forgettable role, but yes,
prestigious role.
And he's also in Hoffa, of course, which of course stars the previous film's villain, Jack Nicholson, the Joker, and Danny DeVito. So him and Danny would cross paths again, it would seem.
But Danny did direct him in Hoffa, so
Yeah, maybe he was so enamored with this guy. He's like, the guy whose nose I bit was great. Like, I actually bit into his nose, and like he was a pro about it. I'll give the kid a job. He could be in my next movie. This jacket he's wearing is pretty hideous. Like this black, white, and a little smidge of gray checkers. It's like,
I love it. My fashion. I often deliberately wear something hideous.
John, are you in the Big Bad Voodoo Daddies? Is that what it is? Are you in a ska band? So you got to wear these?
It's about time that ska came back for a fourth wave, and we all joined band.
That's the thing, John luring people down the stairs with the promise of more fish to be like those are ska posters everywhere. No, this music is the way of the future. It was the way of 40 years ago, John. No, but now it's time again.
You just wanted me to
come the 90s are being revived now, so it's bound to come back.
It is, yes.
Instead of luring people with a fish, it's actually like a real big fish record. Just getting people down the stairs. Just handing them a trumpet as they go.
Oh my God! How did I not think of that one? You swine!
But yeah, the thing we're kind of that's because Jen and Josh feature so prominently in the next minute. I'm not too sure whether to do any splash into that really.
I'd save that for now. Save it.
Yeah. So, do you guys have anything this minute in particular you wanted to bring up, or?
No, I think we've covered it all.
No, I think we covered it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm noted out if everyone else is.
We'll get ready to wrap up. Hang on. Mm-hmm. So one last time before we depart and leave everyone to have a nice, lovely Friday and a fun weekend, would you like to tell them where they can find your show, which I'm sure they've heard the last 2 bloody episodes, but just in case, one more time.
Just in case you don't listen, Minute Impossible, we are going through the Mission Impossible franchise 1 minute at a time. We finished the first movie, 110 episodes. Go listen at minuteimpossible.com or any podcasting app you have. We're also on Facebook. That's our primary way of talking with everybody. So come over to the Impossible Minute Force or look up Minute Impossible on Facebook and you'll find us. No problems there. And come talk to Chris and I and everybody else. Neil's on, John's on. We're all kind of all talking to each other about stuff all the time. So
yeah, we have a good time there.
Yes, we do. And we're on Twitter at Min Impossible, MIN Impossible. Other than that, thank you for letting us come on.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah,
Thanks for
guys.
joining us. And
Yeah.
everyone out there, do join that Mission Impossible group because it's fun. It's one of the best groups, I think. There's a lot of chat going on. You get quite a lot of messages on there, which is always a good thing because you feel more inclined to then post yourself if you see lots of others. You don't
It's
want to
not
be the
just me
first one.
posting or Chris posting. It's
No,
it's,
it's just
we
me.
have a
No, we got a lot of people
that
who
just-
post on there, which is impressive.
Yeah, it's always good. So check that out, everyone, and check us out at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave, our Facebook group, and also on Twitter. We like using both of those. At the moment, Niall seems to be the Twitter guy. I'm not doing as much tweeting, Twitterness. I don't know, whatever. But join us there. And Instagram. We do a lot of Instagram stuff too. So send us a message on any of them. We'll chat to you. We have a hidden Discord channel as well that you can join. I say hidden. You probably just search for it. I don't know, but if you want to look for it, try. It's out there, and there's not hardly anybody uses it. It's wonderful. And join us again then on Monday because we will be back with a new guest / guests. You'll have to wait and see. It's a surprise. And we will have minute 52 of Batman Returns.
But next time, holy nose nip. A perky publicist problematic probe prompts repercussions from his proboscis and repulses people in droves. It's not easy to say, but will the panegyric public find the penguin's surprise peck a little too on the nose? Find out next week. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.